Well, again, good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me tonight on our Vision webinar, Grow Your Business and Yourself, the Roadmap to Your Most Authentic Life. Dr. Tom Preston here. I'm coming to you live from our workcation in beautiful Bradenton, Florida, just outside of Sarasota. And if I could just give you a little look over my shoulder, I'm standing outside in the Lanai area and looking at the beautiful pool and the hot tub and all of that stuff. I believe in living your life authentically and living your life in your ideal. And this is one version of that for me, by able to, take our virtual business and do things that we love to do, which is to change our environment and be able to share our hearts and souls with people from different parts of the world. So this is, I'm just finishing the second week of 4 down here in lovely Sarasota, Florida. And we're certainly enjoying the hot weather, even though it's amazingly mild in the part of the world where I usually come from, in North Bay, Ontario, Canada. I guarantee you that it's a little warmer down here. So again, thank you so much for joining me. I'm looking forward to our time together tonight. This is literally one of my favorite topics to introduce and to spend some time talking to people about. So again, let's just take some opportunity to dive right in and get into the conversation. So I'm going to bet that everybody on this call tonight would love to contribute something of value in their lives. In other words, love to make a difference with their lives. I was in a program recently where one of the presenters talked about how one of the 2 human desires or emotions or opportunities that people would love to make clear in their lives is the ability to contribute and the ability to continue to grow. And I contend that for me, that feels very true to me. And I would offer for your consideration that you would have a look at that in your life too. The desire to contribute, the desire to make a difference, the desire to do something meaningful with our friggin' lives is something that seems to be, no matter where I speak in the world, it seems to be congruent. 99.9% of the hands go up. People say, yeah, Dr. Tom, I want to make a difference in life. I want to contribute. I want to do something meaningful. So most of us do that through many aspects. We do it through our family lives. We do it through our friends. We do it through our hobbies. We do it through our sports. But we also do it through our businesses. And yet many of the people that I've coached, consulted, and have coached and consulted thousands over the last 19 years, the stories are pretty much the same, right? They set goals, they would like to manifest them, they're committed to them, and then some shit happens and it doesn't tend to work out. It's like the classic thing, we're coming into, another New Year's time here, and commonly the gyms are full and people are all excited and they're making New Year's commitments to, go out and get in better shape and lose some weight and be healthier and do all of these things. And they make these commitments and they make different actions and they get accountability partners and they stop laying on the couch eating Doritos, and the gyms are full in the month of January. And then in the month of February, they start to get empty. And by March, it's pretty much back to the way things were. Why is that, folks? Why don't we fulfill in our dreams? Why don't we grow our businesses? Why don't we fulfill in our goals? Why don't we fulfill in the commitments we make to our friends and families? Well, that's what tonight is a lot about. And I've literally invested a significant amount of time, energy in my life to studying this. And now, as I said earlier, the privilege of coaching thousands of people through the system that we've developed, which I want to enroll you in tonight. And let's be clear, folks, right? My purpose in life is to inspire people to awaken to their authentic expression and help them realize their full potential personally and professionally. So no holds barred, right? I'm going to offer you the opportunity, if you'd like to go deeper with this work, to literally have an opportunity to fill out a questionnaire at the end, which will literally help you understand where you are in life and what some of those blind spots may be for you, where you're gapping, where you're missing out. And if you'd like us to assist you with reviewing that with you, we'd obviously love to do that. So make no mistakes, I'm going to definitely offer you an opportunity to do something else later. But if you'd like to hang with me and you'd like to get some great content, then you're in the right spot. So I offer this, folks, right? That when I look in the universe, I see a matrix of intelligence. I call it universal intelligence. Some people call it God. You can call it what you want. But I definitely see a matrix of intelligence that keeps the planets in orbit, that allows, the photosynthesis cycles and the water cycles to happen on the planet, allows me to stand here and digest the meal I just ate a little bit ago and the glass of red wine I had, and allows me to walk, talk, chew gum, and breathe. I mean, there's just this amazing matrix of intelligence when I look into the universe. There's a subset of that inside of us, which is commonly referred to as our essence or our innate intelligence. And I contend that that is something that's in all people. It's in all living things, and all living things want to express themselves in a certain unique and authentic way. A moth always wants to go to a light, right? You turn a light on, a moth's going there. In the spring, salmon are always swimming up the same stream. Geese in Canada in the fall, they're flying south for the winter. It's programmed. It's innate to them. It's how they express themselves. And I offer the same is true of you and me, that we all want to express ourselves in a certain unique and authentic way. What is that for you? How is it that you want to express yourself? What is it that you want to do? Part of my expression is as a father of 5 of the most gorgeous human beings on the planet Earth, called my daughters. I'm also a husband to my beautiful wife, Shelley, for 31 years. God, I miss that girl. I haven't seen her in a few weeks being down here. I also am an athlete. I have hobbies. I also am a chiropractor by profession. I also am a coach, consultant, advisor. I'm a professional speaker. There's lots of things that I do to express myself and my ideal. I can tell you very clearly, I'm not an accountant. I'm not a plumber. I'm not an airplane mechanic. There's lots of parts of my expression that I'm not. I'm not a mountain climber. I don't climb Everest. I climb Kilimanjaro in Africa. So there's certain aspects of my expression, but one of the distinctions I'd offer folks is to the degree that I'm clear about that, is to the degree that I can have that channeled, focused, persistent energy that allows me to live my life in my ideal, allows me to fulfill on my desires and fulfill on my goals. It's been quite a while since I've completely gapped on a goal, and I want to share with you some of the secrets, to that. See, I contend that I'm no different than you. I grew up in a very small town, rural hobby farm in central northern Ontario in Canada. And, we had a couple of pigs and a few chickens and a few cows and a pony. And, I grew up with working class, blue collar folks, right? That just literally were trying to make ends meet like so many, other people. And so from that place, I realized that there's things that I didn't want to do. I didn't want to break my body and break my back the way my dad had, working in the wilderness as literally Paul Bunyan. I didn't want to stay stuck in that small town. So I literally decided that I wanted to go out and go to university, which was a unique thing in my family. There's 32 of my cousins, big family. And, very few of them had ever gone off to university or done anything outside of staying in their own little, blue collar towns. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But in my belief system, some of those people stayed there by choice, which is great. And some stayed there by default because I didn't know there's any other choice. Well, I knew I had a choice. And that's why I went out and got my way to university and found my way to chiropractic school. I went on to become a very successful chiropractor. Now, as I said, I coach, train, and consult full time and speak across the world to help other people connect to what it is that's magical and authentic and unique inside of them and help them express more of it. And I hope that that's why you're on the call tonight, because I'm hoping that there's at least 1 or 2 or 3 things I'll say tonight that you can connect to and that you can get a chance to live your life more profoundly and more authentically and with more fulfillment and more joy and, quite frankly, more energy and more passion, right? So all of these different influencers in my life were literally like noises in the back of my head that just come in, and they were, bringing me information, and none of it malicious. They all were just bringing me their worldview, their values, and what they wanted to share with me. And it was a lot like a patchwork quilt, right? It's all of these influences in our lives, our preachers, our teachers, our parents, our siblings, our collective friends, and so on. And they're all, sharing us their ideas and their worldviews. And there's nothing wrong with that. But to the degree that we buy into those pieces without filtering through our value systems and what's important and what's true for us inside, what our authentic self, what our innate intelligence says is true for us, is to the degree that we tend to live a life of ought to, got to, have to, need to, and of course the infamous should. And you got to be careful with should, because you could just should all over your shoes, right? So be careful with the should piece. But literally, that's an important piece, because if you listen to your language and you listen to the words you're saying, you can often tell where the fundamental belief that is driving the communication or the behavior is coming from. And words like ought to, got to, have to, need to, and should are lower vibration words. They're coming from someone else's voice, some other influencer, this patchwork quilt that I have up on the graphic here, not necessarily coming from the inside out or your most authentic voice. So we're all collecting this data. Another analogy I'll often use, it's like we're a brand new computer hard drive. We've got an operating system, and I'm a Mac guy, so we've got an iOS, but we get all of these different software programs that are loaded onto us by our influencers, like the patchwork quilt I showed earlier. And these different software programs, there's nothing wrong with them, but they just may not be exactly a good fit for us, right? So to the degree that we get that clarity is to the degree that we can understand very clearly what it is that's authentic to us, what's innate to us, what our moth to a light or goose flying south or whatever it is that's authentic to us that we want to express. What is it for us that's unique and authentic that we want to express? That's really where the juice is. That's really where the passion is. That's really where the fulfillment is. And that's where the high level manifestation comes. If you're able to hang in there with me, gang, and stay right with me till the end, I promise you that the cure for procrastination, unfinished projects, and unfulfilled wishes can literally disappear tonight. That's my intention. That's my goal. That's my wish for you tonight. So hang in there with me, and let's go down this rabbit hole together. Here is something I refer to as your life map. And if you can see this graphic clearly, you'll see that at the very top is the results, your life. And this is the life that you're living today. And my guess is that some of you are on this call because you're living an amazing life and you'd like to tweak it. Some of you are on this call because your life, quite frankly, sucks and you'd like to figure out how to make it better. And probably the majority of you are on this call because life overall is good, but maybe you're a bit comfortable. Maybe you wish there was a way to be more fulfilled. Maybe there's a way to be more efficient at achieving your goals. And that's really what most people that I interact with on my coach consulting service, that's really what they're looking for. So there's some aspects of their life, personal, profession that isn't exactly what they want it to be. So a lot of people will just say, well, I'm just going to do something different. I'm going to take a different action or a different inaction. I'm not going to do something, or I'm going to start doing something. And that works for a few hours, a few days, maybe even a few weeks. And then it peters out. So then people say, well, you know what, I'm going to just make some different choices, which will lead to different actions. And that's a little stronger, might last a little bit longer, but inevitably people tend to fade back. And I'll go back to reference, the gyms in January. They're full and they start to peter out as the weeks and months go by. So people say, well, I'm really committed. I'm going to make a strong commitment. I have a strong intention. I'm going to go and make a different choice. I'm going to make different actions. I'm going to not stop doing some things. I'm going to start doing some other things. And as a result of that, they say, I'm going to get a different result. And for the odd person, they can literally work from the place of commitment, and it actually, makes a difference for a while, maybe weeks or months. But inevitably, people go back to the way things were. That's why the diet industry is so profitable, you guys, right? 98% of all diets don't work. They fail miserably. Because what's underneath all of this is your philosophy of life, which is basically supported or propagated by your core values and beliefs. It's propagated by all of these things that are back in here in this patchwork quilt we talked about, this software that's been loaded on by influencers in your life that tell you that maybe you're special, you're talented, you're fabulous, and you're gorgeous, or more likely people that tried to tear you down and told you that you were maybe a little less than you could be, that you weren't that special, that maybe you never amount to anything, or maybe you were homely or ugly or fat or whatever. And you bought that crap. You bought into that belief. And so down in here, underneath those beliefs, you have this belief that you're this chubby, unloving, undeserving person. And that creates a philosophy of life. And your life is built around that belief. I'm not suggesting that it's not real for you. I'm just saying that it's something that was not necessarily authentic or innate to you. And that influences your commitments, your choices, your actions, your inactions. I've seen this in my coaching practice over and over and over again. People that set their thermostat for abundance at $50,000, $100,000, $300,000, $1 million. And it doesn't matter what new staff member they hire, or new location they have, or different education systems they have. Pretty much it goes up and down a little bit, but pretty much it stays around their set point. So if we know that that's true, and we 100% know it's true, where is it that we get these values from? Where is it we get these beliefs from? And what is it we can do about it? Well, I would offer this, you guys, just again to continue to create the picture. Our values and beliefs drive all of our human behavior and all of our communications, right? Look at my values. I have 4 core values. Family, love, and connection, my number 1 core value by far, right? If push comes to shove and my family needs me, there's only one place on planet Earth I'm going to be. It's going to be with my family, right? Even with respect to connection, I often thought that the word connection was more about just, my immediate family. I realized it's not. It's about meaningful connection with other human beings. So again, people often ask me, what's the difference, coach, between your coach consulting practice and others? I don't know the answer to that because I don't participate in other people's coaching programs. But I do know that people go into other programs and then come to ours. One of the things they tell me is how deeply, how intimately, how profoundly that we coach. And, the reason for that is because I value that. I value connection. I value being able to talk to people at that really deep human level, but what it is that drives them, not some superficial cookie cutter BS model that, some people use, that they'd say the same thing to everything. God love you if that's what works for you. It doesn't work for me because I don't value it. Same as this one, authentic spiritual expression, business and service, right? So it's my second value. Freedom, finances, adventure, creativity are different aspects of that expression. And of course, health. So you can imagine, it's no wonder I had such a high volume family, right? I mean, with the number one core value of family, love, and connection, why wouldn't we have five daughters? Why wouldn't we have a big family? Because it fits our values. We value it. We I don't know an easier way to say it, folks, than we value it. My brother and I traveled to Africa, to Tanzania. We took several weeks and we traveled to Tanzania and climbed Mount Kilimanjaro a couple of years ago. This is a picture of me outside of, the peak of Mount Kilimanjaro. Well, when you see that my third core value is freedom and it relates to adventure, no wonder I would travel halfway across the world and literally risk my life to climb a mountain, because I value it. It's part of my expression. No wonder I devoted a significant amount of time and energy to, mentors and guides and reading and study about, business and service, because I value it, right? No wonder I get up every morning between 5:30 and 6 in the morning, usually, sometimes earlier, sometimes a little later, but between 5:30 and 6. And I do my morning rituals, which involves yoga, Tai Chi, some meditation, healing codes, some other things, because I value it, right? All human behavior, all of your human behavior is driven by your values. So if you're clear on what those values are and you have ownership of them, then you can then go out and design a life that supports that. You can design goals that come from that place of values. And when you do, you guys, I'm telling you, your life will flip on its axis. Life will become more joyous, more fulfilling, more rewarding, and manifestation will become easier because it's all in line with your values. It's all in line with your core beliefs and the things that drive you and make you unique as a human being. Okay? What I would offer, if you're following my worldview here, is that all of us are connected to that matrix of intelligence, that grand organizing design, and there's a piece of that within us that wants to express. What is that, and how do we operationalize that? That's what our core values are about. That's how we actually get that clarity about what it is that we'd like to do and how we'd like to do it. So again, my vision for my life, as a result of my values, was to create a really nice net six-figure income, work up 30 hours or less per week, and take 10 to 12 weeks of holidays, or what I call recreation time to recreate myself, right? And that was basically my life. And that's how, of course, I backed into the coach consulting world, as people say, well, how the hell do you do that? How do you make a nice six-figure income taking, 10 to 12 weeks of holidays a year and working 30 hours a week? So, well, I can tell you. And that's literally how I started to do that. Now, again, that's my vision. That's my definition of success. That might not be yours. You might say, hey, you're not taking enough time off, or you're taking too much time off, or you're not making enough money. I mean, that's totally your deal, right? The key is that my vision was congruent with my values. And as a result of my vision and my goals being congruent with my values, I never worked another day in my life because it was all congruent with who I was and what I wanted. And if you follow the matrix of intelligence construct that I offered earlier, all of the creativity, all of the wisdom and power that is that matrix of intelligence, whatever the hell that stuff is, that keeps the planets in orbit and runs the cycles of water and photosynthesis and all of that stuff, whatever that matrix of intelligence is, that piece of me that is a piece of that when I'm connected to that as fully and authentically and clearly as possible, I get access to power, wisdom, and creativity that I don't have as reasonably bright, and some people would argue with me, but as reasonably bright as I am or you are. My offering to you is that you're not near as connected or near as bright as that matrix of intelligence that allows you to, pump blood, digest food, breathe, think, and, quite frankly, pass gas, if you will, if that's something that you do, which most of us do. Okay. So here's some benefits of getting that absolute crystal clarity and creating a plan from that place. All right. Clarity about who you are and who you're not, and what you should be doing, what you would choose to do. And again, I'd ask you to watch your language, because should can be a dangerous word. It's often a somebody else's word. It's another influence, or part of that patchwork quilt, part of that software that's been downloaded before you had a chance to really, decide whether you wanted that software downloaded, right? Just like the blank hardware we talked about earlier. So when you've got that clarity and you can hear yourself saying words like I choose to, I desire to, I love to, those are inside out words. Those are authentic words. Those are things that are coming from that really crystal clear vision. And there's power, there's creativity, and there's wisdom behind those. Okay. Once you got that clarity, you can look at, how you design your personal life and your professional life and see how they're interconnected. So many people have this crazy belief that you can have one or the other. You can have a successful personal life or a successful practice life or a business life. I contend that's not true. You can have both. And getting that crystal clarity about your vision is not just about your business life, but it's also about your business and your personal life, as I said earlier, right? As a result of that, you can get clarity about, how big of a business you really want to design. Because there's a Western culture mythos that says that more is better and bigger is better. Well, I don't want biggie fries. Not that I go to fast food places. I don't want a bigger waist. I don't want a bigger ass, right? I don't necessarily need a bigger car. What I want is something that's authentic and real for me. So this Western culture mythos that more is better and bigger is better, in my opinion, is not necessarily true. What I would rather hear people say is that I know exactly what I need to manifest. I know when enough is enough. I know exactly how big a business I need. I know exactly how much money I need to make. Because you literally can reach a place of fulfillment, you guys, where you're not always looking around the corner. You're not always looking for what's next. You can be comfortable, you can be happy, and you can be fulfilled with exactly where you are at that stage of your life. As a result of knowing how big of a business and how much money you want to make, you can figure out how many hours you want to work, how many holidays you'd like to take. You can determine whether you want to work on your own or with a partner, how many years you should work in order to manifest your life and your ideal. You could literally develop an exit strategy from that place of values. You can determine what systems you need. You can determine what kind of clients you want, how big of a team you need, whether you even need a team, how to train them, how to inspire them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Everything can and should flow from that place of values, those place of beliefs, creating your philosophy, which then goes all the way goes through to your intentions and commitments, your choices, your actions, or your inactions, all the way up to giving you the results, which is a meaningful, fulfilled, joyous, harmonious, prosperous life. You deserve it. I deserve it. We all deserve it. God doesn't make any junk. And this is an opportunity to, find the magic for how that should be. So let's go in and look at, those philosophical questions commonly referred to as metaphysics, epistemology, and aesthetics or ethics. And, literally, who am I? How do I know it? And what should I do? Right? Plato said that the unexamined life was not worth living. And, literally, him and Aristotle were commonly referred to as the fathers of philosophy. And that philosophy of life, again, comes all the way back down, as I showed earlier, from our beliefs. And those beliefs are what creates our philosophy, which creates our intentions, and gives us the answer to these questions. Who am I? And that's not a light question, you guys, right? Some people have spent years just answering that. Who am I? My offering to you is that you can define who you are via your core values. And certainly there's many tools and exercises out there. We've got some in our company that are really awesome to be able to go in and help you explore who you are. And as a result of that, how do I know that, and what should I do? What are my expressions in my life? How is it that I want to express myself as a result of getting this gift of a life? Okay. So again, values and beliefs create the philosophy, creates the intentions or commitments, creates the choices, creates the actions or inactions, which gives you your life. If you want a different life, if you want a different business, if you want a different relationship, if you want different friendships, you got to go back and work at the level of beliefs, because that's where it all flows from. That's where it all is rooted in. Okay. Once you've got that clarity about your beliefs and your core values, then it's a natural extension to literally flow down from there and define your purpose. I've worked for many years at defining my purpose from a multi-page document to literally just 2 words. And that is to inspire authenticity, right? 2 words, inspire authenticity. With my family, with my wife, with my friends, with my clients, with everybody that I interact with, I just want to help them connect with what's inside of them that's meaningful to them and help them express that to the world, right? It's very simple. I don't race cars. I don't fly to the moon. I don't plunge toilets. There's lots of things I don't do, but there's lots of things I do, and I have that clarity, right? And from that clarity, we can then look at, our mission. And then from our mission, which is basically a verb to the noun of our purpose, my mission is to awaken individuals to the power of authentic expression and help them realize their full potential personally and professionally, not just personally or professionally, but both, right? So those values create our purpose and mission, which in my mind is it's like a North Star. It's like a guiding light. We get lost, we get confused, we don't know what else to do. It's a place to literally come back and ground us to be able to get back on track. Because as a human being, you will get off track. I've been off track literally hundreds and hundreds of times in my life. The question is, can you recognize it? How long are you off track? And can you get back on track quickly? And that's a wise thing. So I would offer this: to the degree that every human being, every living thing was really clear about who they were, who they're not, and what they're here to do, is to the degree we'd have this concept of interconnected purposes, this concept of this big interconnected chain of who we are as beings, expressing ourselves in the world. And you know what? I believe that would literally make our little green and blue planet spin easier. There'd be less social unrest, less family unrest, less challenges with jobs. Did you know right now, you guys, in the G20 nations, that heart attacks, myocardial infarcts are one of the biggest killers? And did you know that almost a third, almost 33% of all heart attacks happen between 9 and 10 on Monday mornings? What the hell is going on at 9 to 10 on Monday mornings? There's 168 hours in a week. Why is it not evenly distributed, maybe taking out some sleep hours? But why are myocardial infarcts, heart attacks, not spread out through the 168 hours? What's going on between 9 and 10 in the morning on Mondays? People are going back to jobs that they hate. They're going back to doing things that are not purposeful, that are not innate to them, that are not authentic to them. And as a result of that, the stress of that literally breaks their heart and kills them. So I've got an inspired plumber on my team. This guy knows more about American Standard toilets than any human being I've ever met. That's the guy I want on my team. He doesn't want to cut boards. He doesn't want to fix cars. He doesn't want to, adjust spines. He wants to be a plumber. That's the guy I want on my team. I got an accountant. He's as dry as freaking milquetoast, but he teaches other accountants tax law. That's the guy I want on my team. He's really clear about what his purpose is in life, what he was put here in the world to do, and how he's going to fulfill on that. To the degree that we had that clarity, you guys, is to the degree that the whole friggin' thing would work so much better. And I believe that this, my little tiny contribution, and hopefully even today, I can help you guys get that extra bit of clarity about who you are and what it is you're here to do, so that you can do that to the exclusion of all else and have more joy, more happiness, and more abundance in your life, quite frankly, as a result. Steve Jobs, very wise businessman, said this before he passed: your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, and I agree with him, I believe it comes from the heart, from in essence, from the inside out. You'll know when you find it. And like any great relationship, it just gets better and better as the years roll on. So keep looking until you find it. Don't settle. I really believe that he very clearly was saying the exact same thing, that I am. He was just saying it in a different way. All right. So once we get this clarity about who we are and who we're not and why we are who and how we want to, the next question is, how do we want to express ourselves in life? And this is a document that we have, what we call I Know I Am Successful When, which comes out of a meeting with one of my coaches years ago, where he said to me, Tom, how do you know when enough is enough? How do you know when enough time with your spouse is enough? How do you know if time with your kids is enough? How do you know if marketing is enough? How do you know if money is enough? How do you know if vacation is enough? How do you know if sports is enough? How do you know if hobbies is enough? How do you know? And I mean, literally, I asked the guy to shut the hell up, because at that point in my life, I didn't have the answer to one of those questions. I didn't know when enough was enough. I was just blindly going through life, just, hanging out and hoping that things would stick. And I can tell you that today I have the answer to every one of those questions, and I have it literally right at the tip of my fingertips. Because to the degree that you can define success for yourself, and let's be clear, the only definition of success that matters for you is yours. It's like the only definition of success that matters for me is mine. And so the degree that we can define that throughout what we call the hologram of life is to the degree that we've got power. We've got the law of attraction on our side. And when I say the hologram, I'm talking about, you as a physical being, spiritual being, a mental being, family, social, career, and financial, all across all aspects of your life. To the degree that you can clearly define what success is, you can literally know when enough's enough. You can know when you don't need to, bigger is not always better, more is not necessarily better. Like, for example, I got one wife. I don't want more than one. Nothing against those polygamists who think it's wise to have more than one, but I don't want more. I can't hardly handle the one I got, for God's sakes, right? I don't want to have, as I said earlier, I don't want a bigger waistline, right? Like, when I define success for myself physically, part of my definition is to literally weigh between 190 and 195 pounds and have between 8 and 12% body fat. Really clearly defined. And out of that comes really congruent goals. And those congruent goals are easy, or relatively easy, for me to manifest, because they're congruent with my definition of success, which is congruent with my values, right? What's a value that promotes that definition of success relative to my physical part of my life? Well, of course, it's the one of health. It's my fourth core value, right? I put a ton of energy, time, and money into my health because I value it. It's also linked to family and being able to spend time there. It's also linked to adventure and being able to climb mountains and do the goofy things that I do in my physical life, my personal life. But it all comes back to that value of literally health. So to the degree that you can define success for yourself, you guys, across all of the hologram of life, physical, mental, spiritual, family, career, financial, and social, is to the degree you now have a template for what it is that you want to do. And as I said earlier, literally your goals can come out of that. Your short-term goals over the next year or two max can come up out of that. So for example, I have a goal. It's a kind of a goofy goal. It seems a little bit far-reaching right now, but one of the things I want to start doing is be able to do handstand push-ups. To the best of my knowledge, I've never done one in my life. I kind of get a little freaked out being upside down. So just being down here, one of the things I've been working on is doing headstands, just to get used to being upside down. And then once I've mastered that, I think I can go to handstands. Once I go to handstands, I can start to build my shoulder strength to be able to do that. Why do I want to do that? Because it's a goal. Because most human beings, as I said earlier, want to contribute. They want to grow. It's a way that I can continue to grow. But it's growth that's based upon a value. It's growth that's based upon my value of health directly, and also a value of family. So I want to be able to, chase my grandkids around when they come, quite a ways from now, hopefully. And be able to, look good for my honey and be able to support her, as well as literally, again, go back to my concept of adventure and also my business and my spiritual expression. Because if I'm going to be the best, coach, consultant, trainer I can be, I got to have my health. It takes a little bit of rigor to do some of the goofy things. I was speaking at Life University this weekend, and crazy hotel I was in, I didn't get a whole lot of sleep there. I slept probably an hour and a half. And then I had to get up and lecture the next day for 8 hours. Well, you know what? If I wasn't in reasonable health, mentally, emotionally, and physically, I probably couldn't have done that. So again, to the degree that you can define success for yourself based upon your values, to the degree that you can then create goals that are byproducts of that, is to the degree that you will be fulfilled and rewarded and happy when you create those goals, and you'll be perpetually inspired. No one has to get me up in the morning to do my morning rituals. No one has to remind me that, it's morning and it's time to get up and do that. It's just something that I do, right? No one had to remind me to go for a run tonight before this conversation we're having tonight. It's just something I naturally do. It's like breathing. It's like putting on my socks in the morning. It's just an extension of who I am. Was not always that way, folks. Let's be clear. There was times where I was struggling with goals and not fulfilling on them and being pissed off about them and not following through on them and procrastinating and starting them. There's lots of things which I'm sure some of you have also experienced that are a byproduct of goals that are not linked to your definition of success, that are not linked to your values, that are not linked to the beliefs that form that, and therefore are just, quite frankly, a struggle. Okay? Now, I would offer that when you create these goals, you can literally do this in your business and look at, how you want to express yourself. Now that you've defined success for yourself via your values, you can look at targets for savings and taxes and your personal lifestyle, as well as something we call big rocks, which are just things that make life worthwhile and exciting. And, like, for example, me being down here in a workcation for 30 days. I planned this a year ago. It's something that makes my heart swell. It makes me feel happy about my life. It allows me to live my life in my ideal. They don't always have to cost money. One of our family's big rocks for years was literally to have dinner together 360 plus days of the year. Sports teams my kids couldn't play on because we valued dinner. There's office hours I didn't have after 6 o'clock because we wanted to have dinner together. Right? So again, big rocks don't have to cost money, but sometimes they do. Of course, debt reduction and business costs are pretty straightforward. But to the degree that you set targets in all of these areas, you can literally work your way backwards. And in your business, you can look at how many people you need to serve, how many products you need to sell, how many services you need to be a proponent of to decide that. For example, if when you ran these numbers based upon your targets for savings and taxes and so on, you said it was going to cost you $20,000 a month to live a life like that, right? Not good or bad, not right or wrong, just a target. And from that, you said that, my case average in my business, my average, sale of my product or service, or, average of a patient I served, or whatever your metric is, was $500. Well, you could just divide, 500 into 20,000, then I believe you'd get the number 400. You'd say, I need to sell 400 widgets or serve 400 people, or, whatever your metrics are, to live your life like that. And it's important to get that number, you guys, to know exactly how big of a business you need to build. Because the Western culture mythos that more is better and bigger is better has already been proven on this talk tonight not to be true. So how will you define success, and then literally building a business that supports that goes all the way back to, as I said earlier, to as we just said, how big your business should be, but also what kind of patients or salespeople you need to have, or who it is you're going to sell to, what products and services might be part of that. Also, what kind of team members you might want to have to support your vision, whether you need any or some or three. All of that can be determined all the way back through from this train of logic, values, which goes down to your definition of success. I know I am successful when, which goes down to your goals and works its way all the way down through to the finances, of life. Speaking of goals, don't forget the goal acronym, you guys, right? Make SMART goals. SMART goals are specific, they're measurable, they're aligned, they're realistic, and they're time bound. If your goals are not that, then you really need to, hey, thanks, Rick. Sorry, apparently I'm cutting in and out a little bit based upon maybe all of the hand motion. So thanks for sharing that with me. A little bit more or less expressive. So again, SMART goals are specific, measurable, aligned with your values, they're realistic, and they're time bound. And make sure that every goal you have is a SMART goal. Because as one of my mentors taught me years ago, if you don't have, for example, a time relationship on your goals, it's not a goal at all, it's just a wish. So again, you want to be sure that your goals are SMART, they're aligned with your values, they fit your definition of success, and from there you're going to be an absolute rock star. All right. Once you've got your short-term goals, it's easy to then go to your midterm goals, right? And build on top of your 1 to 2 year goals what your 3 to 7 year goals are going to be. Once you've got your 3 to 7 year goals, it's relatively easy to leverage on top of that what your long-term goals, your 7 to 15 year goals are going to be. And when you've got that long-term vision, it's easier then to reverse engineer backwards to the things you need to be focused on this year, this quarter, this month, this week, in order to move you forward towards living the life of your dreams, all based upon your values and what it is that makes you tick and what it is that's important, to you. So that literally is the secret to goals. It's the secret to manifestation. It's one of the most closely guarded secrets in the world of self-development. I just blew the lid off it tonight so that you can know that it doesn't have to always be that way. And hopefully from this opportunity to chat tonight, you can see how you can literally start from your place of values and beliefs, build upon that to your definition of success, and then from that definition of success, create your goals, make them sure they're congruent, make sure they're SMART goals, and you can build a life of significance, a life that is something that you would love. Okay? So let's talk about what we could do from here. I believe that a rising tide lifts all boats. It's an old saying in self-development, and I believe it to be true. So our version of that is that we would love to, help rise the tide, because to the degree that your life becomes more significant, your life becomes more authentic, your life becomes more congruent with who you are, that interconnected purposes slide that I showed earlier of the interlinked chain, is to the degree that my life affects your life, which affects other people's lives, and so on, and so on, and so on, right? And so that's really what we're about at Full Circle Coaching and Consulting, is about rising the tide, about lifting the boats, right? So if we can be of service to you to help you, lift your boat for 2016, to use the metaphor, we would obviously love to do that. And we already talked about the interconnected purposes of how everybody has a certain role, everybody's a certain way they authentically want to express themselves in this life. And if we could just get that clarity, if we could just have the inspired plumbers, the inspired accountants, the inspired contractors, the inspired chiropractors, the inspired entrepreneurs, whatever your role is, and get really clear about what that is and what that isn't, is to the degree that I think this world would be a lot more joyous to live in. You'd be a lot more fulfilled as a human being, and literally we'd be supporting each other, doing the things that we'd love to do, and doing it with great joy and so on, right? So if you would like to literally have a look at where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are relative to your authentic expression, your definition of success, and your goal setting, I invite you to go to this URL. It's up on the graphic, drtompreston.com/roadmap. And it's a questionnaire that we'd ask you to fill out. And the goal of the questionnaire is to literally look for those places in your life and your business and your authentic expression that maybe aren't as authentic as they could be, that aren't as connected to values, that aren't as meaningful to you, And then we could look at some of the behaviors that may be true for you, like procrastination, like unfinished projects, and so on. And we look for ways to help make those cleaner, clearer, less of an obstacle for you by literally going back into that place of setting goals from that place of values. If you would love, we would certainly love to get one of our authenticity coaches to get in touch with you to review the questionnaire with you. No strings attached, you guys, right? That's not who we are. We're just here to rise the tide, because to the degree that you get more authentic and you do fulfill your purpose, to the degree that you impact us, it's a hologram. We're all in this together, you guys. There's only one of us here in my belief system. And to the degree that we're all, moving forward is to the degree that we all benefit from that. Okay. So I would offer this to close. Everybody has a beautiful role to play in this great, tapestry of life, this great play of life. As I said earlier, if we could just all get that much clearer about what our role is and do it to the exclusion of all else, is to the degree that we would just have more joy, more fun, more prosperity, more abundance, and more happiness in our lives. So you, like me, have an authentic essence inside of you that wants to express itself. It's not a secret. It's inside of you already. To the degree that you can take ownership of that, get clarity about that, and express yourself from that place through your core values, through defining success from that place throughout the hologram of your life, and set goals that match that both in the short term, midterm, and eventually the long term, and then reverse engineer back to the things to work on this year, this quarter, this month, this week, this day to move you forward, is to the degree that you get to contribute your verse. And to the degree that you get to contribute your verse is to the degree that, again, this little green and blue planet spins easier on its axis, families are happier, businesses are more productive, they're fulfilling their purpose and providing employment for other people, providing products and services that are meaningful to other people. Societal unrest goes down, the employment rate drops, heart attacks stop happening at 9 to 10 in the morning. It's a huge picture, you guys. It's a big vision that we have. And we would love to see you be as fulfilled in your role as you can be. Those are the things that I wanted to share with you tonight. So I really want to thank you for being here. I'm actually going to change the mode here and take the recording off. And I'm actually going to be staying on for a while to answer any and all questions that people have. It's one of the benefits of being wise enough to get on the call live, is that I'm going to be on for as many minutes or hours as it takes to answer any and all questions of anybody that's out there. So for those of you that are maybe watching this recording, sucks to be you. Too bad you weren't here live. I would have been happy to give you as much of my time and experience as I can. For those of you that are here, happy to stay on. I am going to actually hit the button to stop the recording, and then I'm going to change the interactive process so I can hear your amazing voices. So if there are people that have questions, I would love to answer them. So, thanks again for your patience and for your attention tonight, you guys. And if I can actually figure out how to shut this recording off, it's going to be rather amazing. If not, perhaps we're actually going to record the question. So I'm going to actually switch
All
it over
attendees are muted and may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
So what the mechanical voice just told me is that you are all unmuted now, and if you would hit *6 on your phone or your mobile device, you would actually get a chance to converse, and your voice would be live. So, hey, Dr. Rick, thanks for the feedback on the presentation, and you go out and be authentic and go play hockey, and I'll be cheering for you while you're out there playing the Gentleman's League hockey, and I'll be just continuing to be sad for you that you're a Maple Leaf fan. So. All right, if you hit *6 on your phone or mobile device, folks, you definitely will come off mute. And as a result of that, we could have a conversation. So if anyone has any questions, I'm just going to hang out here and see if there's any questions that I can answer for you.